Welcome to another day for us to work on our kids' picture book. Here we are on day 6 of the How to Write a Children's Book from Scratch series. Today is the day that I show you how to create a children's picture book, so stick around. Hey Write Writers, Keith Wheeler here, and if you want to continue to get all the hints, tips, and tricks on how to make self-publishing easier, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and smash that little bell icon so you get alerted every time I put out a new video. Up until now, we researched our topic, downloaded our images, and even created the text for our children's book. Now, we're going to take all of that information that we've collected and we're going to turn it into a children's picture book. This is one of the most exciting times because this is when your book really starts to come to life. I will typically do this in PowerPoint, however, you can use MS Word or even free software like Google Docs. Basically, you're going to take the prose that you've already written in the previous step and you're going to combine them with the images and illustrations that you've acquired previously. For the sake of this video, I'm going to create a picture book using PowerPoint. I'm just going to flip the screen around and we're going to get started. First, I'm going to start by opening up a new project in PowerPoint. Now, we need to start by setting up the dimensions of the book. After doing your research, you determined what your ideal book size should be. Now, if you decided that you want to have interior bleed, then you need to make sure that you add the appropriate margins. For KDP, that's 0.125 inches to the top, 0.125 inches to the bottom, and 0.125 inches to the side. Now with my book, I've decided not to have bleed, so that way it's more consistent with the rest of the series. So my book is going to be 8.5 inches by 8.5 inches. So to set the dimensions, we're just going to go to Design, Slide Size, Custom Slide Size, and I'm just going to change the width and the height to both be 8.5. I always pick Ensure Fit just so that way it looks nicely on the page. I'm going to click in here, I'm going to hit Control A, and then I'm going to hit the delete button just to get rid of all the extraneous elements that I don't need. And here we are with a blank page. So now when I go in and I set up my margins, I will go to View, and I'll go to Slide Master. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to insert a layout. Now that it's highlighted, I'm going to Control A and delete, get everything out of that, and I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to call this Write Page. Rename it. So now I need to set my margins. So to create a margin, what I do is I insert a shape. I just grab a square, put it in here, just drew it wherever. It doesn't matter the size at this point. Because mine doesn't have a bleed, I need to allow 0.125 inches on the top, bottom, and on the side. And the gutter is the side of the page that's going to be the inside of the book, like where the spine goes. That's called your gutter. So for on a right-handed page, the gutter is going to be on the left side. On a left-handed page, the gutter is going to be on the right side. This is one of the most confusing parts when it comes to setting up your margins. But if you just keep that in mind, and if you need to just open up a book and physically look at it and see what side faces the spine, then do that. For KDP, for the size of my book, it's going to be 0.375. That's what I need for my gutter margin. And then for my outside margin, I need 0.125. What I have done for all of my books in this particular series is I like it to be a nice, clean square all the way around. So I always set all of my margins at 0.5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this. Now that I know what size I want my margin to be, I right click, click Size and Position. And this is going to be for the top. So I'm going to make the height 0.5 and I'm going to make the width 8.5. And there we go. Now I'm just going to copy that, paste it, and that's going to go down here for the bottom. Copy that, paste it, drag that up here. Now this one's going to be for the size. And so I need the width to be 0.5 and the height to be 8.5. I'm going to copy that, paste it. This part tends to be the most confusing, so if you have any questions, drop them in the comments and I will answer them as quickly as I can. Even if you have a book that has full bleed, so your color is going to go all the way to the end, your pictures are going to go all the way to the edge, you still want to put a margin in here to make sure that you keep all your important words and images out of this area. This is my right page. I'm just going to copy and paste it. I'm going to rename this one to left page. Now, obviously, in a book like this, where I'm doing the exact same margins on the inside and the outside, then having two different pages is not necessary. But majority of the time, your gutter is going to differ. So, like, for example, if this was on the right page, I clicked on the right page. If I wanted to put a separate gutter in here, I would double click on this. I can go to the size. And let's say I wanted to make the width 0.9 to make it a wider margin to account for the gutter. Well, then obviously when I do the left page, I need to make sure I do that same thing to the right. We'll just go in here, change it to 0.9 and make sure that it's lined up with the book. There you go. This one probably went over a little bit. Oh, it was good. Okay, so there we go. So this is what your book may look like if you have either done just the exact margins that you need, or if you have done a book with bleed where you want to make sure that the inside gutter margin is bigger than the outside margin. But like I said, for my book, that's not relevant, so I'm going to undo this, undo that. Okay, so we're good. Now we're going to go to view, go to normal, and here's our book. First page. Now I'm going to right click in here. I'm going to choose a layout. These layouts were all the way at the bottom, so this is going to be my right page. Books always start on the right hand page. So your very first page is always going to be on the right hand side, whether it's a title page, the first page of a chapter, whatever. So now it's literally just laying out my book. The way this particular series works is I have some text up here at the top. So we're going to insert text box. I'll put it right here. I'm going to do my buddy knows a baby. And then this is going to be centered. And the best way I have found to center it on the actual page is to draw the line all the way to the end of this margin and this margin. And therefore it's now centered between the margins. Obviously I don't like that font. For my children's books, I usually use Garamond right here. Way too small of text. Let's make it bigger. Yeah, that could work. I'm going to drag this up more. There we go. And then I'm going to have my image here. And then I'm going to have more text down here. So we'll copy this, paste, drag this down here. What we're going to do is called a dot. And actually, let's get rid of this ellipse because that's not relevant. I'll change the color of this font, not a fan. Let's make it blue and bold. Here we go. Same thing here. Make it bold and blue. And now, of course, now that I've made them bold, there, this one's not centered because I didn't center it before. If you want to make very small movements, you can actually use your arrow keys. So we're going to do that right there. There we go. That looks good. And this right here, this line is completely centered. And so I can look in here and I can actually zoom in if I want. I can go to view, I can go to zoom, go to 100%, click OK, zoom in, make sure it's completely centered. I'll typically do that before I'm done with my first page. That way that page can be my template for the rest of the book. So here's this one. Now I just need to put in my image, which is going to go right here. I'm going to insert pictures. It's great to have all of your pictures in one location. In this process so much faster. But I'm going to go in and I'm going to click on that. In this particular case, I want the parent first. I'm going to resize this. Now, important thing when you're inserting images is you need to make sure that you insert them. You're not just dragging and dropping them from one file to another. And that's centered. I'm going to make this a little bigger. Okay, and I'm going to drop this down here. I'm just going to use my bottom arrow. Bring that all the way down there. And that gives me an excuse to make this bad boy a little bigger because this is for kids. Kids like pictures. And as you can see, these guides right above the picture, like I'll move it and they'll disappear, and then I'll move it back and they're there. Those will help you determine if it's centered. All right, so there's our first page. My buddy knows a baby alligator is called a, and then I'm going to right click. I'm going to duplicate this slide. Here's the reason why I'm doing it for my book, and obviously your book is going to be different, but my book is going to have images on every single page. When I duplicate the pages, I keep the image to begin with so I can better align each page and make sure that each one is in the same position as the other. Another way that you can do this is you can go back to your slide master. So again, I went to view, slide master, find your whatever slide you want, right page, left page, or both, and you can just add more things in here. Like I can go in and I can insert a shape. Let's say I want to do a rectangle and I put this in here. Okay, I can right click on the inside and get rid of the fill, say no fill, and so it gives me a little box right here. And then I can put this box wherever I want it. Like let's say that's where I want the images to be. Okay, if I always want the images to be right there, then when I go back over to normal, I just went to view and click normal. Then I have that box now right there as my guide. And so I can adjust this to always fit within that area. That's another way you can do it if your book's going to have any kind of consistency from page to page. Obviously, if your book is just one giant image, then this entire thing is just so much easier, because then you still want to put your margins in, but then you line up where you want your text to go, and then you can have the image literally just take up the entire page. When you're stretching or condensing an image, that will change the resolution. This is another reason why when I got my images, I always got the bigger versions as opposed to the smaller versions, because if I take this image as it was and I shrunk it down, whatever the DPI is, which is dots per inch for this particular image, as I shrink it, the dots per inch actually get higher, which is a higher resolution, which gives you a nice, smoother looking, clearer image. Conversely, if you stretch it, then it's going to lower the resolution, therefore making it look pixelated. That's why the images that you get, whether it's from an illustrator or it's from a site, whether paid or free, you need to make sure that you get as large of an image as you can. That way, worst case, you just have to shrink it down. You'll just make the resolution that much better and a clearer image for your book, especially when it comes to the print copy. You know, when you print a print copy, especially the cover, KDP wants it to be 300 DPI or better. I've seen some books that have a little bit lower than that, but typically, especially for the cover, it needs to be 300 DPI, or I believe KDP will actually kick it back. I always have mine 300 DPI or better, so I don't have to worry about that. Now, when it comes to the ebook version, you can actually get away with a lot smaller DPI, which is good because a smaller DPI is a smaller file, which means it's going to cost you less for the downloads for the ebook. So if it's an ebook, you want the DPI to be like 72 DPI. But since we're working on picture books, we want this to be good quality. So we want 300 DPI or better. So again, just keeping in mind when we're doing the images, you want to ideally not have to stretch them. You only want to have to shrink them or keep them as is. Okay, so that's this. My buddy knows that a baby alligator is called a, so now I'm going to my second page, and I need to right click and make sure that I'm using the left page layout. So here, a baby alligator is called a, do you know? A hatchling. And then down here, I'm going to put a baby alligator is called a hatchling. Obviously, I need to shrink this, so we're going to reduce the font size. Control A. Let's see what can we get along. What can we get away with? 32. 36 is a bit much. 36 might work. We'll make it be 2 lines. That's fine. A little period at the end. And so now I need to right click, and I'm going to change this picture. And from my file, got this alligator 1 parent, this alligator 2 baby, so I'm just going to go my baby one. Oh, isn't he adorable? So in a case like this, as you can see, this is a little smaller than I'd like. Ideally, I want a bigger picture, so I might actually go back to that site. Sure glad I wrote down the site that I got it from on my cheat sheet, so I can go back to it real quickly. Because if I stretch this too much, it's going to change the resolution, which I don't want, especially with illustrations. But for now, we'll see how that bad boy looks. There we go. Looks good. Okay, so those are my first 2 pages. So now I'm going to duplicate these. Click on the first one. I hold the Shift key, click on the second one, and I'm just going to Control C, Control V. This will be for the second animal. Now I know that I need a total of 24 pages. So now I go to this one, paste, until I reach the number of pages I need. Okay. I'm going to go back up to page 3. And this is my second animal. If I went in and I inserted an image like I did the first time, it's going to insert another image on top of this. Instead of inserting an image, I'm just going to right click and I'm going to click change picture. So I'm just switching out the pictures. From a file, it's going to bring me to the same spot I was before. Next, I'm going to do bears because I have the parent and the baby. So do bear. Let's see what they're about there. Then I go to page 4. Again, I'm going to right click, change picture. From a file, I want the baby bear. There we go. And I have to change it. Baby bear is called a cub. Now, what I've found is you really want to find out whichever one is going to be the longest text, and that is what you want to go by as far as font size. That way you're not changing the font size from page to page. Again, you want to stay consistent. It makes it look that much more professional. And then I'm just going to go through and I'm going to do this for each and every one of these different animals. Now, let's say for your particular book, you're not doing anything like this. You've got words on one side and a picture on the other. Well, then I'm just going to go in here. I'll go to the first one, and I'm going to Control A, and I'm going to delete everything. Again, everything that you see here is what is on the actual layout. So this I can't delete from here. I'd have to go over to my master slide and delete it from there. Let's go to the master slide, because if you're having words on one side, let's see, we're on the right page. So words are going to be on the right page, images on the left. So we'll take this, let's flip this bad boy around. We're going to move him. Let's make him a little bigger. And maybe you want him centered, I don't know. You want him centered? We'll put him centered. Okay. And then this will be your guide for where you're going to put your text. So then we'll go back to view, go to normal, and then now I know I can insert my text wherever, and I'm just going to say, this is page 1 of my children's picture book. And then you can just write whatever you want on this page, and then again, your second page is going to be your image, or whatever you want for your second page. Again, keeping in mind that this first page is always going to be on the right hand side. So if you want your words on the left and your picture on the right, then you need to change your layout accordingly. You need to right click, let's put a new slide, move this bad boy up here. And that's what I love about PowerPoint is you can just drag and drop things wherever you want. I need to have a title page, and I'm going to copy and paste that. I need to have a copyright page. So I'm going to have title page, copyright page, and then the rest of my book. And actually mine has one more page. Let's see. My title page, my copyright page, can be your dedication page. In my particular book, it introduces my buddy character. So this is a right page, left page, right page. So then I'll need to insert another page. So this will be right, left, right, and then I'll need a blank left page so that way my book can start on the right hand side like it's supposed to. Many people are going to ask, what about a page number? You can just simply go in and insert a text box. Now let's make it centered just because I like centered things. We're going to make the text black instead of blue. Make it black. We'll probably make it, let's see, 12 font. And then I can just put a 1 here. And I want it centered. Especially if you do that early on, you can do that, and then when you copy the pages, you'll just have to remember to go in and manually change all of those page numbers. Yes, it's a bit of a pain, but you're doing a children's picture book, so you're probably only going to have a minimal number of pages, or just don't include page numbers. That's pretty much the only options that they have as of now if you're using PowerPoint for creating your book. Now, if you're using Word, obviously in Word you can actually create page numbers and include them in there, and that's great. Now, when my book is completely ready for me to download, I want to remember to go into View, Slide Master, and make sure that I delete all of these margins and all the template items. Now, what I always do is I save the file, then I go in and I remove all of these, and then I save a different version of the file. Go back to View, go to Normal, so you can see how everything has now been removed. The reason why I want to keep a version that still has those borders in there is so that way, if for whatever reason I need to go back and make any changes, I still have all of the slide layouts already set up. I already have the margins and everything that I need. It just makes changing things so much easier. Also, if you're going to make it into a series, having that gives you a great starting point for your next book. Okay, now for your homework. Your homework tonight is to put together the interior for your children's book. Be sure to save as you go, and when you're done, post on social media or any other platforms that the book is really starting to come together and that you'll be doing a cover reveal soon. Set a specific date for the cover reveal if you can. This will help continue to get the buzz going, getting more excitement around the concept of your launch, bettering your chances of getting sales right out the gate. Now, remember, if you haven't already gotten your free copy of the How to Write a Children's Book cheat sheet that I use on all my children's books, you can go to kwheelerbooks.com/cheat sheet and check it out. That's it for this video. Remember to subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon, and I will see you next time. Remember to write right.